Hi, I'm Roberta. Welcome to my kitchen. This month we're off to the Spice Islands, Indonesia. And the first thing we need to make is the Indonesian pickled vegetables called Acar. We are going to be serving these with everything. So I'm going to make a double batch. You can vary the ratios of ingredients to suit yourself. Typically we use some carrot, some cucumber to cool down the spice of the chili, although we do use long chilies for this, and some red shallots. Now have a look in the storage section of the e-magazine if you're getting the online cooking class, because I give you an average weight for these things because they can vary tremendously. So I'm actually counting this long red chili as 2 because it's about double the size of many of the red chilies I get. I already have some chopped up here, some cucumber, some carrot, and we're going to use 2 shallots roughly this size. If it's a huge shallot, just use 1. Our pickling liquid couldn't be easier. Distilled spirit vinegar and white sugar in equal quantities. Now, how much you need is going to depend on, obviously, how much you're making, but also your vessel. So follow the recipe, make it up. If you need more, make a little more up. We simply combine equal quantities in a saucepan, give it a stir until the sugar dissolves, bring it to the boil, and then set it aside to cool. As for our veggies, the cucumber, I often leave seeds in cucumber for all sorts of dishes because I love their cooling properties, but because we're pickling this and keeping it in the fridge, we're better off getting rid of those seeds because they're a bit too watery. So we'll just scrape them out with a teaspoon. Always eat them rather than waste them. They are yummy, but they're not going to work in our pickles. So we'll get rid of them, and our carrot I'm simply going to slice on the mandolin. So we'll get rid of the end, bring my mandolin on screen. I think they're easier to do if you cut them in half, the thicker half and the thinner half. And please, 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 if you're using your mandolin, use your guard. So it's quite a thick setting because we're going to cut matchsticks and then we're going to cut a dice. So cut your slices first. Once you've got them cut up, you can stack them on top of each other. Cut your matchsticks like that. You want about 1/2 centimetre. You don't have to be too precise. And look, I've made them where I've pickled them as sticks like this, where I've cut the cucumber into half moons. It's really up to you, but my favourite version is this smaller dice. It's easier to put on the table, it's easier to put a little bit on your plate, and as I said, I encourage you to serve it alongside everything. As for our cucumber, we'll slice it in a similar size, just into strips, and then those strips into about 1/2 centimetre, 5mm dice. Dicing shallot is very tedious, so I've already done that. And then the only thing that remains is our chili. Now, this is not particularly spicy, but if you're not a fan of spice, you can take the seeds out. I leave the seeds in, and we just want nice, thin discs. 2mm if you want to be precise, but you don't need to be. And we can reduce the heat simply by not putting all of those seeds in. Those ones that have fallen out, we might just leave them out. Or if you're a chili head and you want to put them in, by all means do. So there we are, the last of our chili, into the bowl with everything else. A few more seeds. Give that a mix up. Yes, I probably should have used a larger bowl, but that's okay. And you can stack this into a sterilised jar. I usually just use one of these containers for the fridge. Mix it up well, pile it in there. I'm not sure it'll all fit. I might have to make 2. And then in with enough of the cooled pickling liquid to cover it. Do make sure it's covered. Some of it's going to float, but I'll show you in a second what we're going to do about that. So, you may have done this with me before. We're going to make what we call a cartouche, a square of baking paper. And if you know how to do this, well and good, but if you're seeing it for the first time I saw it, I thought it was a little bit magical. So we're just folding in half again, in half again, as many times as we can to get it quite small, and then measure the radius, cut it a little bit larger, and voila, more or less a perfect circle. And that just gets pressed onto there, and that's just going to help to keep everything submerged. I pop the lid on this, pop it in the fridge, it keeps for at least a month, even longer, and trust me, you're going to serve it alongside everything. Typically you just serve the vegetables without the liquid, but if I'm serving something particularly spicy, then I'll serve some of the liquid with it too, because it's got that nice sweet sour flavour. So Acar, Indonesian pickled vegetables, quite similar to what the Thais call ashat, which is usually just the cucumber and a bit of chilli, I think, alongside many of their deep fried dishes especially. You're going to love it. Enjoy.